Welcome to the April meeting of the Sydney City Bonsai Club. We've got a lot on the meeting. I hope you enjoy it all. We've just had the training session finish and we're about to get into the main meeting. I'll do some announcements and then we'll get into a workshop. Welcome. Be one of the people in attendance. You'll have to let us know today, because if you do, we can give you a ticket to get you in. And all you need to do is be at the Bonsai stand for the hours of the morning or the afternoon, or both if you wish, but at least 3 or 4 hours in the morning, 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon. Chris and I will be there. Who else?
That's it.
That's it, okay. At the moment it's Chris and I. So if anybody else can attend, would you please come and see Chris before the end of the meeting? It would be really good if we could get another 4 or 5 people, and if you let us know the preference of those times, as I said, we either Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, or Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Okay?
Can I just say, you don't have to be a bonsai guru, whatever. You're basically talking with people who will come and tell you how many trees they killed in the last couple of years or whatever. So it's about just giving them some idea about the basic principles of bonsai and how to keep them alive. You can go around, familiarise yourself with the trees that are actually on the bench, because they'll say, what's that one? And you know,
there's a list of the entries which we can access to know what species each tree is. Right. Okay.
And they'll always ask you how old it is. If you don't know, you make it up. just be consistent. So you don't have to be a guru, but someone who knows something about bonsai will probably be well in front of the vast majority of people. The biggest question you'll get asked is, where are the toilets? That's the first one you get asked. So once you've got that under control, the rest are relatively easy. Yeah. So by all means, if you've got something in at the show, you've got a free ticket, and you want to come out and see how it went and what your opposition was and whatever, we'll spend some hours on the thing. It's a long day for 2 people to do it, and do it 2 days running. Okay. Sorry? 8 o'clock.
So what was the
What
question?
time's the pavilion shuts? 8.
It closes at 8 at night. It actually depends a bit on how many people are coming through, because in the past I've noticed that the guards come round about half an hour before. If there's nobody in the pavilion, they start to close up early, but it's normally 8 o'clock.
But it's likely to be busy. You're on the busiest day of the show, almost.
It's Friday.
Good Friday.
Yeah.
And Good Thursday. So there'll be a lot of people there, and I'll be moving through. And there's a lot of interest in the bonsai.
I've got to say that I find it quite interesting to be in attendance. You get a lot of interest, people oohing and ahhing at the bonsais, and that's always pleasing. Young kids. In the past, we're going to try to have some giveaway little seedlings, particularly for kids that show high interest. It's amazing how interested some people get. Not the least is that we've probably got quite a few members over the years by people coming around and asking, how they can find out more about bonsai. But don't forget, before you go to tonight, see Chris and let him know. He needs to know have some idea of when you can come, and you've got the tickets here tonight. Yeah. Just over the next month or two, the Illawarra Bonsai Show is on the 4th and 5th of May, so that's not so far away. The School of Bonsai had a sales day on the 10th of May. The National Convention is in Canberra, and that's on the 16th to 19th of May. Bonsai by the Harbour, 6th and 8th of June. So over the next 6 or 8 weeks, there's quite a lot of bonsai activity happening. We have Scott Martin, as I've said before, coming on the Saturday the 18th of October. And we've mentioned that what we're planning to do with him is have a workshop for about 8 participants, so that Scott can spend time with each participant and give his personal guidance on what you could do to improve your tree on styling. Because it's likely to be so popular, in fact so far we think we've got about 8 people interested, we thought we should start to finalise those arrangements from now. And I'll just get Ollie to sort of go through what we've been contemplating.
Yeah, so basically, I know a few people haven't got the newsletter, so if you haven't been notified about this, here's your notification. Basically, it's a 4-hour session. It'll be $50 a head, which you'll have to prepay. You'll also have to be a member of the club in the next financial year, just to make sure you're paying your fees. But if you're interested in going, let John or I know tonight. We'll put you on the list. We think it's going to fill up, so what we're going to do is if it fills up, it's just going to be a randomizer to make it fair. I think that's probably about it. We may consider, if Scott's available, running a second session if there's enough numbers, but that's still, so guaranteed Saturday, maybe the Sunday will be confirmed.
Spectators are allowed, aren't they?
No, so we're going to try and not have spectators this time, have it more of a closed session, because each participant, so the club's not funding this at all. It's each participant pays $50 a head, and so I think just to be fair to those people that have paid, it's just going to be those.
You know my views on that. Can participants bring a friend or friends?
Oh,
I haven't really thought about it. To be confirmed.
I'm your friend. It probably depends on demand, because if we've got, we're saying 8 because it will be a 3-hour session, 4-hour session, and if each person's going to get their value out of it, we figure 8's about the maximum number that you can do it with, because when you divide Scott's time up between 8, that's not much, half an hour per person for the 4 hours.
And that's also, you're not sitting there watching, you're bringing a tree along yourself and working on it with it. And I know James, when he goes to these sorts of sessions, will pre-wire a tree so that it's more just around the styling advice. That's up to you, really. Yeah.
Most of the clubs would have, or the organizations would have, money for the participant, maybe $25 or $20 for observers. So they pay as well.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, look, we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks.
I mean, that's
at the moment we were saying no observers, but I think that's an option as well. So we'll let you know. But for now, we're just trying to secure the people attending, and hopefully we can run 2 sessions. But if you're interested, please let John and I know tonight, because we're going to try and firm that up in about 2 weeks' time.
Just to be clear on what you said, I was imagining that it would be first in, first served, but you were saying
No, sorry,
it'll be all the names, and then if it's more than 8, we'll randomise.
No. So how it's going to work is if we just get 8, first and first served with it before the next committee meeting. If it's 10, 12, then we're going to randomise them. Because it's not fair if someone has found out, through word of mouth before someone's sitting here now.
No, that's what we agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Right. Well, thanks, Ollie. The only other, I mentioned last time that one of the previous members who lives at Mount Wilson is on to do a Yamadori dig at his place. Since then, I've spoken to him. He's still very keen. He's suggesting that we come up one day in a weekend, probably a Sunday, but that's still to be decided. And we make a picnic of it, so you take your own picnic. He's got 5 acres, so I think there's enough land, enough space to spread a picnic blanket or something, and do the dig. You'd have to bring your own containers for whatever you want to take away. the ideal time would be around the end of July, the beginning of August, that sort of time frame. So when it gets a bit closer to that time, around say maybe June, we'll get a more specific date that fits in with everybody's requirements, and I'll get more exact numbers and we'll let him know. It's very, very generous of him to do what he's doing.
What are we digging?
He says he's got a lot of maples. If you know Mount Wilson, it's quite beautiful in autumn because it has a lot of maple trees. But he said there's a lot of other trees as well, conifers and other species. He didn't say them all, how many, but he said that there's quite a few, but then a lot of maples. Japanese maples mostly. Now they'll all be bare by the time we're doing it. He was talking about people, if they wanted to, going earlier and having a look while they're in autumn. So you might be able to pick a tree that you want, but I'm not sure that's absolutely necessary. But if you are interested, let me know and I can put you in touch with him. Okay. Well, that's all the announcements I had. Next meeting on Tuesday, the 13th of May. Don't forget about the Lucky Door Prize. There are some pots and things from donations over on the table with prices marked. A couple of people have contacted me, so I've taken those pots out of those ones on the table. There's some trees for sale on the table, I can see. And tonight is just mostly a workshop from now on. So, happy workshopping. Yeah.
John mentioned that the Edinburgh show is on the first weekend in May. It's one of the best shows in New South Wales, and we have a big member sale section. And I've got 21 sellers, so there's going to be a lot of good trees. And I know there's at least one or two people that are getting rid of their collection, and you should be able to pick up some good bargains. So it's a tradies club in Gymea, plenty of on-site parking, and give us a go.
Okay, thanks, Lee. Right, unless there's anything I've forgotten or anybody wants to say anything, we're into the workshop section. Now.
Eventually he's going to be extra. I'm going to put a wire on it.
Isn't a sucker from
One of these, right? Yeah. And the Privet's really good at doing that.
sort of that scale with
These ones? They are weed. No, literally they are. Now we're talking about Easter show. These are not supposed to show.
This is that one that I was telling you I dug in.
They are
Hi there, I'm Oliver, part of the Sydney City Bonsai Club, and we're running a competition this month, which has been going for 12 months. So what it was an idea of how can you turn a tree around in 12 months from being an ugly duckling into hopefully a beautiful bonsai, or at least on the pathway to a beautiful bonsai. So we had 10 entrants. One didn't make it. That was actually our president, John, which I can call out by name. He killed his Banksia. We've got one person that couldn't make it tonight, and then one withdrew. So we have 7 trees left, and the winner is going to get voted by everyone, and they're going to win a bonsai club. So if you want to come have a look, we've got some pretty cool entrants. So Chris, I think on the left, number 2, is probably looking like the winner, in my unbiased opinion. And then there's a few other figs. So the whole premise is that you probably want to do a fig so that you can do a lot of ramification and development in a short amount of time. There's some other species here as well. There's a quince, which Simon entered, and there's a tiny little Cotoneaster horizontalis, which is my entrance on the right. That's the one, and it didn't have a lot of development or anything. It's just been put in a nice pot. But yeah, may the best tree win. Can you put it? Everyone can vote.
Because one come out
to wash it because it had some sort of
twisted,
thing all over it.
kinked.
Yeah, well done, mate.
We'll go do a rundown of display trees. Why don't we start from the left-hand side? I think it's Chris. Chris, is that your tree then?
Yeah, that's a sandpaper fig.
So,
You'll often see sandpaper figs with big fat trunks and whatever. That's not what they grow like. That's what they grow like in nature. They grow in creek beds and whatever, and they'll be under a canopy. They'll go long and skinny, and then put out their fluff at the top to survive that way. But it breaks all the rules, but it looks interesting for me. Second one's a water gum. That comes from Karawara, or what's it? Karawara? That guy used to be down the south coast there.
not Tumbarumba.
No, Karawara or whatever. He little place at the back of the waterfall there. Sadly, he died. But I've had that for probably at least 10 years, and I suppose it might have been 10 years when he got it. But again, a tree worth having to think about. Pretty tough. You often see them along the roads as footpath trees. But yeah, I quite like him. He normally grows in water, as you'll see from that thing. Very thirsty. The stand I made out of stuff from the steam club that I'm in. We chopped down a tea tree and just chopped up the trunk and put it together, and I think it sort of looks all right with the Australian names.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay. It's got James written all over it.
It's a privet. I think I didn't have multi-trunk tree or group setting, but I thought there's only one comes close. I had one actually, I just worked on it, but that's the only one can get closer to it. It's pruned it yesterday. They do grow vigorously. Yeah, I had this tree, I bought it at Oz Bonsai sale close to 10 years ago, and it was sitting in the tub, and it wasn't like that obviously. Worked on it for a few years. Yeah, it needs to be repotted twice a year. That's the only things I say. It grows so bad. Oh, it's bad is good. Yeah. So, yeah, just a privet, just a weed. That's it.
Here's the next one.
No one owns that, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty good.
This is a Beckia. I've had about 8 or 9 years, I think. This second trunk here, they're actually 2 separate trees.
Oh, okay.
And as the lower one developed and got heavier, it started to drift further and further and further apart. So it's now been super glued and screwed into the main trunk to keep it in place, and also I was worried that it would snap off or damage the tree. So, and look, it most probably looks a bit hairy to a lot of people, but it's one of the trees that I don't like trimming too much. I like it to look fairly natural, and that's it.
Leave it to me, I'll prune it properly for you.
And maybe we can,
Yeah.
you can do the left side, I'll do the right side.
I brought in these two of mine. This is my daughter's one that we worked on about 3 or 4 years ago, and just sort of keeps going. Just a bunch of little Japanese maples we got, but we thought we'll try it as that was our first forest planting. And this is one I did a workshop at their school 2 years ago. We got the kids to do. They got all the little trees, and they did 2 forest plantings in styrofoam boxes. The boxes fell apart after about 12 months, so I threw what was left into that pot, and yeah, it's probably still a bit too high, and I need to work on the branches a bit, but first sort of forest plantings and stuff.
I'm impressed that they don't have any leaf burn.
Oh, okay. Well, I picked a few of them off before I came. Yeah, no, I've got a few.
Very good. Who owns the elm?
These, contrary to what I keep bringing in, I don't know anything about boxes. So these are some sort of box. I basically bought a massive batch. They were ripping a hedgerow out, and I bought a massive batch of these things just to play around with and work on trying to get my wiring back in form. And these are the only ones that I had that were kind of more trunk or clump style. These ones grow super vigorous versus the other ones that I brought in. Again, it's a box of some description, but I don't know much more about it. So that's yeah.
Is it the front of the tree that one that you got?
So that's why I put it sideways, because when I actually got these, when I put this in there, I just put it in the pot and it was like bushy. So I started working on it after I planted it, which was a mistake. And then I kind of was looking around at a better angle and with a more dominant front-facing apex and just the flow of the tree.
That's right.
Which is why I presented that sideways, because it probably should be in the front. But
Only
yeah,
one thing, if
first
you go to
working.
repot it this way, the back branch is covered by the one in front of you that you can't.
Just in here,
Yeah, that.
that going there.
Yeah, just you got to tilt a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you.
Yeah, so I think obviously I'm going to let this grow now. I obviously cut, it was like a hedge. So I've cut it back and just set primary branches, let some stuff grow, and yeah, first styling, let it grow in.
This is Seatomia azalea. It was a discard because the bonsai enthusiast, he thought he made a mistake with it, so he got rid of it. I shortened the branch to give it more because the branches were very straight. I shortened the branches. It's still in development. It still needs a full season, but it's got a beautiful little trunk and lovely roots. And give it another time to fill out fully, and it'll be a lovely tree. So somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure. And this one is one of my up and comings. It's a Melaleuca claret tops. I've had a piece of mallee and I tried to plant something in it, but it was just too small. So I've actually taken the whole center of the mallee out, practically bare rooted it and stuck it through the mallee. So this opening is about that big, so it's got plenty of room for expansion. But it's, if you think of a bush scene, a bird flew over or the wind blew a seed in the middle of a bunch of rocks, and that's how the tree's grown. And give it a couple more years when the trunk thickens up, it'll be really stunning. And the pot is an English Aran pot, and although it's high glaze, the muted colors suit the color of the foliage and the color of the trunk and the whole bushy feel of the tree.
Always good to finish on one of Lee's trees. Well, thanks everybody for bringing the trees in. we're getting towards the end of the night. It's hard to find a clock around here that tells the right time, but I hope you've enjoyed the workshop, I hope you've enjoyed the meeting, and look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, I won't be here next